Hey, everybody, welcome. I'm Jen.
I'm Joe.
And today we are going to be answering your questions that you're asking us all over social media. Facebook group is probably the number one place where people are asking most of our questions. So if you're not in that, go over right now. Creative Finance Playbook with Jen and Joe on Facebook. It is an excellent group of lots of resources, deals that are shared, and lots of stuff happening.
And we do all types of awesome stuff. So come on and join us there.
All right. So we're going to get into some really great questions. And the first question of today is going to be, how are you researching markets? What website or websites or services do you use?
So to research markets, there's a few things there. If I'm researching markets, want to know more data about it, I'm Googling everything. Just to find out migration patterns where a lot of new jobs are being created. For a paid service, there's an app called Reventure app. It's actually a website, but it could show you a lot of really like year over year sales, if prices are going up or down. It's just great to do research. Right now in the beginning of 2025, from the research I pulled on there, and I did that 5-hour live last Friday, and I know we got another one coming up, so I'll pull it back up again. It shows like the Northeast right now, prices are still strong. Like prices are still going, sometimes even over asking, no inventory. But then it shows in places like Florida, the year over year, the inventory is up significantly. So that helps you kind of get an idea of what's going in the market. I love PropStream. I use PropStream all of the time. I'm looking for properties that way. I'm doing research on properties. I could find out how many properties a seller owns, the list, how much they all owe on them, what banks, interest rates. Like PropStream is like Zillow, like times 100. It is awesome. I love PropStream. So I spend so much on that, on the app and on the desktop. The desktop's got way more stuff on it. So if you're only on the app, get the desktop version too. Get like on a computer more than an iPad. And then, Zillow's free, right? I could do research on Zillow. And some of the things I'll do is I'll look in a market. I got to type in it. I didn't know, but you could type in a whole county or a whatever. So if I'm typing in Hillsborough County in Tampa, what I like to do is I like to see active homes for sale. And then I write down that number, and then I click on the total amount where it shows pending and accepting backup offers. And so what does that show? Well, that shows there might be 1,000 houses on the market and there's 200 of them that are pending. And then I could kind of do some math and figure out like how much is selling in that area. So those are the three big ones I really love.
Yeah. And then I would like add to that, do you suggest a new investor start with 1, 2, 3 markets? Like what if you're brand new? Like how do you know, like where should you even start then?
Okay. So it depends. I always like to start where I live because I know the area. I can go to the meetups. I can connect with other like-minded investors, which is wonderful. I highly recommend you do that too. That is like free everywhere, guys. You could just go on like searches and Facebook groups and find out where these meetups are in your area. Do that first. If you're going to look for a secondary market, for me, what do I want? Am I trying to bank on major appreciation? All of us are, news tip there. But am I banking on, I want cash flow? Because for me, if I'm not getting paid every month on the property as well as appreciation, I don't really like it. So what are markets that cash flow really well? What are markets that are relatively inexpensive, especially if I'm just starting off? Miami, Florida, super expensive, super hard to find cash flowing properties, right? Super competitive. Maybe that's not the market I would dive into second after I'm already doing my own area, unless I live there, right? But then there's plenty of places all around the US. We still buy deals in upstate New York, even though we live in Florida now, because upstate New York, your median house price range is $200,000. The only thing that changes the whole state is because of New York City, which is this tiny little spot on the map. The rest of the state's pretty inexpensive and they cash flow. PA, Indiana, the Carolinas, like you could still find deals out there. So if I'm looking for a secondary market, for me, what are the best ones that cash flow, that are relatively inexpensive for me to get into it and get some knowledge, and there we go.
Love that. All right, this person is saying they don't even know how to ask this question. So they're going to give a little background information. I just became a licensed realtor here in Tennessee. My broker I interviewed with told me what I was describing, subject to, was illegal, or she's pretty sure it is, and that if it wouldn't even follow our contracts that we use. So my question was directed at getting over that hurdle. I'm not experienced enough how to answer or do this.
So there's a few things there. To rest assured, and to help you and your broker just might not know, and it sounds like here that's the case. But line 203 and line 503 of a HUD statement. So a HUD statement is an itemized list of breakdown of the entire real estate deal on one sheet. It's on every deal that goes across the USA. It's a standard form. It is a HUD statement. If you're in a state and you're doing a deal, it's in there. And it breaks down everything, right? Well, line 203 talks exactly about subject to, and so does line 503 on the HUD statement. So I would get that in front of your broker. And then I would also find a local title company or an attorney, because they're a title company.
Well, I would actually reach out to David Old's team, Easy REI Closings, who
they're in Tennessee.
are in Tennessee. I think they're Chattanooga.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is also a great resource. But I would link your broker with an attorney or a title company who has frequently done these, understands them. So maybe they could help educate even yourself on that process. But it's certainly not illegal, although I have been told that by agents. I've been
More
told
than once
that.
you've been told.
And then I just tell them and they say, well, it's not illegal, but I don't like it. And I'm like, well, personal preferences or legal things are completely two different things,
It's
right?
a big word. It's illegal. Like to throw that around without having like.
Oh, yeah. Well,
really
maybe they don't know.
Yeah. Well, when you know better, you do better.
Boom.
Yay. All right. Yeah. So definitely. And then get some education on it. I feel like that once you understand how it all works and you're able to confidently explain it to a seller, to a broker, you'll be able to do these deals.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So the next question is, what happens when you get the response, I don't know why my mortgage balance would matter. It's not assumable. No banks allow that. Kind of piggybacking up. So this must be a conversation with the seller. Somebody must have received this back as they're running through their questions.
Yep. So I think it's question 6 on our script, 7 on our script is what approximately how much do you owe on the mortgage? Sometimes this is a question that asks, why would you need to know that? Our standard, and this is something that we do ourselves, but really now we've passed this task on to a virtual assistant, and I really feel like a virtual assistant does it the best. And the reason why is they just know, only type this message, don't change it, and get that answer. So we always say there's a few different ways we could buy your property, and we just want to come up with a few solutions that might work out for you. That's all we say to them. So why do you need my mortgage information? It's not assumable. No worries. We're just working on a few different solutions that might work for you. So we're working on some offers. Do you have a rough idea on how much you owe? Right? So I answer their question, but also I'm finishing my answer with a question back to them. Okay? Because if I just answer it, then they're going to have another question. And now I'm the one answering and they're the one asking. I don't want that. I want to be me asking the questions and me collecting the answers because I'm the buyer, right? So for me, hey, there's a few different ways we could buy your property. I'm just trying to come up with a couple options that might work. Do you have a rough idea of what you owe? And that's exactly it. Like write that down, record that little spot, and use that every time. And either they're going to tell you an answer at that point, which is now more likely, because I can't tell you how many times we use that and they're like 180, like they just plop the answer like, okay. Sometimes they just need to know why.
Yeah.
And then for the ones who don't answer that question, to me, I think of you as maybe you're a little bit less motivated or super skeptical. And maybe because my Facebook page, maybe they haven't had a chance to check me out yet, right? So that's why I always want my Facebook page to be really open and clear, because if the first spot the seller and I connected was on Facebook, they know who I am without having to be a detective. It's pretty simple. Everything's on there. So when I'm having this conversation, if they don't want to divulge that information to me, chances are like I might look at the other questions they've already answered and see the direction of this conversation. If every answer is like, first one, tell me about your property. And they say, what do you want to know?
Everything's on Zillow.
Yeah. Why do you want to sell it? What's the matter to you? How soon do you want to sell it? When I get my price. I'm like, well, jeepers, creepers, unmotivated, not super motivated, kind of not really motivated. And then I get down to the mortgage question, and then there's that one. Okay. But sometimes I might run in the opposite. Tell me about your house. I've already moved. House is empty. I can't afford 2 payments. It's over here. It's a beautiful house, right? How soon do you want to sell it? Or why? They'll even answer that in there. How soon do you want to sell? They're like, last week, because I moved a month ago, right? And then if I get in that question, if they have that rebuttal of, well, why do you need to know this? I hit them with that rebuttal. They're usually telling me.
Yeah. It's all in the responses for sure.
Yep.
So this isn't a question, but I just would love to hear your response. Subject to would be hard unless you paid the seller a large sum to walk away.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, sometimes you gotta give them $100. But what if they don't have any equity? What are you supposed to pay them? What's the large sum then, right? Some of these deals, they don't have equity. Now, there's some deals, they have a whole bunch of equity. I think of the deal that we just did in Cape Coral, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
The guy wants $800,000 for his house. The repair value is like 1.2 million, and the house is built in 98, so it wasn't anything wrong with it. It was just a little dated, but it was clean. If it was ultra modern, it'd be worth 1.2. But he wanted 800,000 for it. And when we would do terms, if you remember, he only wanted 40 grand down because he got a divorce and needed to give her some money. So the leftover balance is still 760, and he owed 510 on the mortgage. So he's got $250,000 of equity. He didn't care about that. He's willing to wait up to 10 years to get that payment. And the reason why we wanted to buy it this way was because he has a 2.8 existing interest rate that we could buy the house, close on it, and the loan stays in his name. But that rate at 2.8 saves hundreds of thousands in finance charges. So this is why we could pay that price, which was still a great deal on it. But $40,000 down on that kind of house, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, and it kind of rolls into, this is a different question, but how do you structure these deals when a seller has a bunch of equity? This person gave an example of a $100,000 house and he only had $10,000 left on the mortgage.
Yeah, just like this one too. He had a lot of equity. I just tell him, Mr. Seller or Mrs. Seller, I typically buy with no money down, okay? And they say one of a few things. Okay, then we're moving on. If they say, no, I need some down payment money, I always say, well, because I buy as is and cover all the closing costs, if I were to give you a small down payment, what's the least you think you need? I get that number. And then obviously that's the starting point. We might have to have further conversation. The deal that we just spoke of, I mean, he originally wanted 6 figures down.
Yeah.
And we said, no, I can't do that. And we just kept on over follow up. So that deal didn't happen the first time. We actually made the deal. Our initial conversation was in March, didn't close until December. So that was a longer process. And then 3 times during that amount of time, he told us, I already found another buyer. It was on the market, didn't sell. Buyer dropped out, and 3 different buyers just disappeared. So as you know, we thought, oh no, the deal's off. It finally came through just because of follow-up. So if a deal goes under contract with another buyer, I follow through with that seller until it's actually closed, or if something happens, I'm here.
We need to do a whole deal breakdown on that property.
We're going to.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. All right. Have you run across states that limit the amount of non-refundable option deposits that you can collect?
No.
Okay.
That was easy.
You have a 1-word answer? I can't even believe it.
That was.
Oh, goodness. Okay. How do you find owners that will entertain seller financing with lower down payments? Where are these people coming from? Like, you must have like a magic wand that you're, you know.
Yeah, it's a magic wand of it's a numbers game. So majority of the people are going to say no to this, obviously, which is okay, because I'm not looking for people who maybe their best fit is to just list it on the market, right? Because maybe they need their equity to move into their next house. Or there's a list of reasons where maybe I'm just not the best fit, and that's totally okay. And I'm happy, right? Because I can't buy every house. I wish we had cheddar like that, but we don't. But I want to be able to buy the house where it's a great fit for the seller. They're motivated. I'm solving their real estate problem. And maybe they already tried listing with an agent and that didn't work out. Maybe they talked to cash buyers and they're all offering them these like crazy low prices that maybe they owe more than that. And that's not even an option. Mm-hmm. But then here I am able to buy the deal. And I think of the deal we did in Baltimore. Like the ladies reached out to cash buyers, they were offering her 200 grand. She owed like 330 on it.
Yeah.
And she listed on the market and it wasn't moving. And she's losing this house to foreclosure because she lost her job as a 3-unit apartment building. But she had like a 2.25 interest rate. And the thing cash flow like $2,000 a month. So we just had to get her current on like 18 grand of back payments and save that deal in her credit. So I'm looking for deals where I could help a seller out and I'm not trying to convince them. So how do I do that? I might have to talk to 100 sellers to find one that will actually close. Now I might write up 1 or 2 and maybe something changes or we pull escrow and something happens or title. We write up deals that don't go through once in a while and it happens. It's normal for everybody. But the ones that close, I might have to talk to 1 out of 100. And the bad thing of the law of averages, it could be the 10th person I talk to or the 100th person I talk to. But generally, it's about 1 out of 100 will do the deal.
Yeah. And so just staying encouraged to know that if you just keep going, you will find people out there that, and then circling back, like you said, following up, making sure that, their situation hasn't changed or has changed.
Post in the Facebook groups. You'll have people reach out to you for free. But the thing is, once again, if you don't follow up with the people that you're talking to, you're going to do less deals. So once again, in this last example, we talked to him in March originally. Got a buyer, backed out, got a buyer, backed out, got a buyer, backed out. And then he was like, please help me.
Yeah.
Change the whole deal.
His pain was like, all right, I just like level.
He's like, I'm moving
10.
back up north. I got to get this place off my back. It's a 3,000 square foot house with this pool. It's on the water in Florida. Beautiful house, beautiful neighborhood. If it was closer to where we lived, we would have bought it. But I don't want to live in Cape Coral. I love it. I'll go over there on vacation.
We established roots here.
We got friends here in Tampa, so that's why we do it here.
But you said post on Facebook, and that's what this question is regarding. So you've posted on Facebook, you're generating your leads, and an owner responds to your Facebook post and says that they are interested in selling. How and when do you ask if they are open to terms?
Great question. So I'm chatting with the seller. I first want to talk about the property, find out what's their motivation behind selling it, second time frame of what's going on with their situation. That's usually the first question. But now after that, I'm getting down to the actual details. Like, do they owe any money to contractors or back taxes? How much do they owe on the mortgage? What are they looking to get for the property? And then I say, okay, if I were to pay that price, would you be open to terms? Right? And if they say maybe or yes, we obviously continue to go down that road. If they say no, I can't or won't, that happens very often. So then we always do ask, well, then if I did pay all cash and close when you want, what's the least you'll take? So what do? I now know if they're open to terms and then what their cash price would be for the people who say no. Now, out of the big bunch of people who do say no, I might run into somebody who has no equity, right? They want to sell their house at 160 because they just bought it and they owe 150. Well, maybe that is a good terms deal. And they just don't know it because maybe they didn't understand it good enough, right? But I'm going to call them and talk to them. But maybe somebody said, no, I can't do that because I have all this equity and I need that money to buy my next house, right? And it's a turnkey house. Well, maybe, it's a different story.
And if you're still listening and you would like that script, I want you to text Joe right now at 585.
Wow. 585-207-2240.
Yeah, and just text script because we give this away for free. And if you are watching on YouTube, comment below script. We'll get that over to you as well. But guys, we don't keep anything to ourselves. He just rattled off the exact questions that our team use, our clients use to close deals creatively. And we want to get it into your hands so you can help more sellers too.
Bam.
Yay. All right. Last question of the episode here. How do you handle the paperwork when buying in a new state?
Okay.
All the paperwork questions everyone always wants to know. It gets people nervous.
I agree. So standard purchase and sale agreement. We want to get the deal on paper, what we've agreed on. I use ours. It's good in all 50 states. And it's just going to be simple, but it outlines the property, buyer, seller, outlines the terms of the deal that we agreed on. Once they okay the paperwork, we okay the paperwork. Now it's finding a competent attorney or a competent title company who know how to close these deals the right way. So either I'm going to reach out to people and groups who do, and then I'm going to interview a handful of these attorneys or title companies. I'm going to make sure they understand how deeding a property into a trust, how to do it into a land trust. Because guys, we need to do a whole episode on just land trusts because I'm hearing nightmares from people saying, I had one of these guys tell me that an attorney in Detroit, Michigan said, I could help deed your property into a land trust for $10,000.
What?
I was like, buddy, if it costs you more than like $400 or $500, like you're being grossly overcharged.
Yeah,
And
that's super greedy.
so, yeah, making sure your attorney or title company know how
Maybe
to do.
he just didn't want to do it, and then so he just said, I'm going to pick an absurd price no one would pay.
Oh my God. Or just,
See.
hey, either way. So find a competent attorney who know how to do land trusts, who know how to buy a deal with owner financing. Even better yet, if they know how to do a wraparound mortgage. I don't do subject to because they're just deeding you the property. So I found in New York, a lot of attorneys won't do that. But if I do it with a wraparound mortgage, which we call a wrap, which is not a real mortgage. I mean, it is a mortgage. It's just a piece of paper, a bunch of them saying that you promise to pay. promissory note is all it is. But with that promissory note, there's also rules that if I don't pay, the seller can foreclose and get the house back. So that's what makes the attorneys be cool with it. So no matter where I'm doing, I could buy a deal in all 50 states with a wrap, no bank approval, no, there's no actual loans, just a handful of paper that they do at closing. But I want to know that they could do wraps really well, owner financing, and they understand how to do land trusts at a reasonable price, like under $1,000.
Yeah.
If you do find that, then I'm already really liking it. And then I want to know, like, how many of these do they do typically? And once you do network, so your network is super powerful.
Yeah.
Make sure that you interview a few. They answer right to these questions, and they're used to doing a lot of these. And there's been some recommendations, especially credible recommendations. There you go.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for tuning in today. Love answering your questions. They are so amazing. And so if you've got more, you know where to find us. Creative Finance Playbook with Jen and Joe. Until next time, go do some deals.